Hello everybody, my name is Jacob from the Midnight Forest. Welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to talk about an album that really messed with me mentally. Everywhere at the End of Time is a 6.5 hour long album created by James Leland Kirby, or The Caretaker, which is the moniker he created this album under. Everywhere at the End of Time is a very interesting album in that it is meant to depict what it's like living with dementia. The album is separated into 6 stages, each stage representing a stage of dementia, with the album starting off with nice 1930s ballroom music and slowly distorting as the album goes on, much like the memories of someone dealing with dementia. I'm going to be referring to a video that has the full album on YouTube a lot throughout this video. It has a very well organized description with timestamps of each stage, a description for each stage, and all that. It's really nice. The link for the video will be down below if you decide you want to check it out. Now, before I get any further into this video, I want to say that I will be discussing some pretty upsetting topics. So if you're not in a healthy state of mind right now, or if you get upset from discussions of mental illness, especially something like dementia, then I recommend you stop watching now, and definitely don't listen to the album because it is much sadder than this video ever could be. However, if you think that you'd be able to get through 6.5 hours of music that mostly sounds like ambient noise and is meant to make you depressed and terrified, then I recommend you go give the album a listen. I will be playing songs from the album at each stage, and I will be discussing the end of the album, which is by far the most upsetting music I've ever listened to. So please, I actually do recommend go and listening to this album if you're able to. It is an incredible experience you won't find anywhere else. So there are 7 stages to dementia, stage 0 being the first stage. This stage is the best stage to be in, as it is essentially the stage without any symptoms and you pretty much don't have dementia at all. This stage isn't represented in the album, and I think the reason for this is because the music we listen to now, the music you listen to while riding down the road or when you're hiking or whatever, is the music representing your mind at stage 0, not distorted, just fine. The first signs of dementia appear at stage 1, and everywhere at the time, this stage is represented by, of course, the first stage of the album. In stage 1, memories are a little tricky to remember, but not to a noticeable degree. Things such as misplaced items in the house become more common. However, it isn't anything concerning, and usually it isn't noticed by the elder or anyone else. Stage 1 of the album is my personal favorite of all the stages and everywhere at the time, as the music is very nice and somewhat calming. I remember driving down the road, listening to it for the first time, and just bobbing my head to it because it was just that nice. The sound of record scratching is noticeable, however not in a bad way, and just kind of adds to that nostalgia feeling that stage 1 has overall. Now, I can't talk about Everywhere at the End of Time without talking about the album art. Each stage has a different painting or image, with all art being done by Ivan Seal. As the album goes on, the paintings become more distorted, just as the music. Stage 1's painting is of what appears to be a magazine kind of rolled up. It's now really difficult to make out what it is, which becomes more of a problem as the album goes on. Stage 2 of dementia is when memories become more distorted and the elder and loved ones around them begin to notice that something is a little off. Misplacing words is more common. Basic functions such as going to the bathroom are done without challenge, however. Stage 2 of the album has a lot more distortion brought to the music. The sound of ambient noise becomes more prominent, and certain notes feel out of place and even repeat themselves sometimes. The painting for this stage looks like a strange vase holding flowers. This is also pretty easy to tell what the painting actually shows. However, the strange shape of the vase holding the flowers looks more like an odd rock structure and seems almost distorted to me, it gives off a feeling of being able to remember something, but with the key aspects being blurred out. Stage 3 dementia, the elder finds concentrating and completing complex tasks difficult. Withdrawal becomes more common, they forget recent events, and physicians can now detect cognitive problems. This is when the elder and loved ones know that something is wrong, and the symptoms become significantly more apparent. Stage 3 of the album has a much darker sound to it. The echoing of certain notes are much more frequent. Songs will suddenly end when it sounds like the song isn't over, and songs will begin with ambience. At my first listening of this part of the album, it was around this point that emotions started really kicking in. The end of this stage was nicer than any other part of this stage. It grows to a higher pitch and is somewhat more relaxing. However, this only makes getting into stage 4 even more impactful when it starts. The image for stage 4 is I don't really know how to describe this image. There's a lot of darker colors here than I guess, but there's also plenty of bright colors. It's really strange. I don't know what exactly this painting is meant to show us, but I think that's kind of the point. One of the things you'll notice about the pictures in this for this album is each painting has something meaningful about that specific stage, and I think the fact that you can't look at this and figure out what this is exactly the point of this painting. So yeah. Stage 4 of dementia is when things start to get really bad for the elder. Assistance with basic needs such as bathing become more important. Important details about them such as their phone number, address, time and date, and even where they are start to become foggy. This is also the first post-awareness stage of 3, where the elder and loved ones know that they are suffering from dementia. Stage 4 of Everywhere at the End of Time is genuinely terrifying to listen to. There are only glimpses here and there of music, and this is made more impactful by the ending of stage 3, as I mentioned earlier. It sounds like a radio being caught between different channels. There is a point in the stage titled Stage 4 Temporary Bliss State where the music sounds a little more like music, but it is honestly anything but blissful. The painting for this stage is more understandable than stage 3's painting. It looks like a person, specifically the head of this person. This image gives off a very depressing vibe and reminds me of the self-portraits done by William Outremoulin. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I butchered that. But for those who aren't familiar, he was a painter that was diagnosed with dementia, and I think it was throughout the 90s. He did self-portraits of himself over the course of him being more and more affected by dementia, and it showed in his art, and it's genuinely terrifying to look at. I highly recommend for you to go check that out. Stage 5 of dementia is when we reach probably the most heartbreaking part of dementia. The elder can no longer do important tasks without help. The names of their loved ones, important past events, and any recent events become forgotten. Stage 5 also brings difficulty speaking, personal and emotional changes, delusions, compulsions, and anxiety. Stage 5 is pretty much more terrifying than stage 4. Like the description stated, there are common moments in the stage but as quickly as you are thrown into these calm moments, you are torn away from them just as fast, and all you can hear is static. The most unsettling part of the stage, I think, is the end, as the sound of a record player is the only noise, and the feeling of falling into nothing grows. The painting for this stage, I think, is a dancer going down a flight of stairs. While this painting is a bit more understanding to look at, the bland colors give off an empty feel, as if the objects here are just empty. This is the final stage of dementia. Here, the elder is unable to speak or communicate, requires help for most activities, suffers loss of motor skills, and cannot walk. I'm going to go on ahead and talk about the painting of Stage 6 first, and then I'll get into the music. The image for Stage 6 is a very simple one, however, it is the most dreadful. Here we see a simple canvas, a blank canvas. Each picture represents something, and I think this final painting is supposed to represent the mind at the end of all of this. At the 6th stage, there is nothing left. There are no memories. The mind is blank, just like the canvas. And that is what makes this truly terrifying. Stage 6 of Everywhere at the End of Time is divided into 4 songs. A confusion so thick you forget forgetting, and a brutal bliss beyond this empty world sound similar to each other, but brutal bliss is deeper, darker, and more confusing. Long Decline is Over is somewhat higher pitched than the first 2 songs. It is more peaceful, but there's still pain in the sound. And then there is the final song. Before I talk about the end of the album, I once again want to recommend to go listen to the album for yourself. Yeah, getting through 6.5 hours of ambient noise may be trying, but this really is something you won't find anywhere. I'm telling you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm committing a crime by spoiling the ending, so please give this album a listening to. But let's go ahead and get into the end. Place in the World Fades Away is in a way more coherent than the other songs. Sounds fade in and out. There isn't much cutting and jumping around. The music is soft and calming. We hear a lot of highs and lows throughout, and then the music changes. We no longer hear any ambience, we just hear nice high-pitched melody sort of sound, almost like angels singing. This made me very emotional listening to, especially after all of this. The way how it wraps up is very upsetting. But this isn't the end of the song. This melody then stops. If music plays when we die, this is it. If you were to get death and turn it into a song, this would be the product. After going through all this music that slowly distorts and fades like the mind of someone dealing with dementia, this is what we were hit with. And once this song is finished, the last minute of the album is pure silence. The life in this person is gone. their place in the world has faded away. The thing I find so amazing about this album is that, to put it bluntly, this is quite literally just ambient noise. The majority of this is just really off-putting sounds, and yet it is so incredibly emotional to listen to. I mean, just talking about the ending of Stage 6 has me in tears. You can't see it right now, most likely, but I am genuinely crying right now. I'm not even listening to the music right now. I'm just talking about it, and it is such an emotional experience. And I think one of the things that makes this album, this particular artistic representation of dementia, what makes it so unique is that there are reports that state that people that are dealing with dementia in the final state, once they reach the end, once they reach Stage 6 and there's essentially nothing left, and they can't talk, they can't communicate, instead, one of the only things they do is they hum their favorite song. And I feel like that is such an incredible tie into all of this. I don't think I have any other way to describe this album. So, go listen to the album. Even though I have spoiled the ending, the experience I still don't think it's lost. So, now on with the outro. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I listened to Everywhere at the End of Time, and it really has been stuck in my head ever since then, and I really felt the urge to make a video on it. This was the most emotional video I've worked on. Yeah, sorry if this video is a little longer than what I would like it to be. I know that my maybe 8 to 10 minute long videos are the best ones to watch because you can't tolerate me for that long. I'm gonna cut that joke out, that was terrible. This was just a video that I really wanted to get in depth with, and I hope you like how I did the background and everything and the editing to kind of go along with that feel of slowly degrading and everything. So yeah, now I want to make it clear that I am not a professional, so take everything I said about dementia in this video with a grain of salt. I recommend doing your own research in dementia and Alzheimer's if you are interested in that kind of thing. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.